The Bible in a Year, Day 53, Numbers 15, Psalm 90, and Numbers 16. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land I am giving you for your settlements, if you make to the Lord an oblation from the herd, from the flock, either a burnt offering or a sacrifice to fulfill a vow, or as a voluntary offering, or for one of your festivals to produce a pleasing aroma for the Lord, the one presenting the offering shall also present to the Lord a grain offering, a tenth of a measure of a bran of flour mixed with a fourth of a hin of oil, and as well as wine for libation, a fourth of a hin. You will do this with the burnt offering or the sacrifice for each lamb. Alternatively, for a ram, you shall make a grain offering for 2/10 of a measure of bran flour mixed with a third of a hin of oil, and for a libation, a third of a hin of wine, thereby presenting a pleasing aroma to the Lord. If you make an oblation from the herd, either a burnt offering or a sacrifice to fulfill a vow, or as a communion offering to the Lord, with it a grain offering of 3/10 of a measure of bran flour mixed with a half a hin of oil will be presented, and you will present for a libation half a hin of wine, a sweet-smelling oblation to the Lord. The same is to be done for each ox, ram, lamb, or goat. Whatever the number you offer, do the same for each of them. All native-born shall make these offerings in this way, whether they present a sweet-smelling oblation to the Lord. Likewise, if any future generation, any alien residing with you, or anyone else in your midst who presents an oblation of pleasing aroma to the Lord, must do as you do. There is one statute for you and for the resident alien, a perpetual statute throughout your generations. You and the resident alien will be alike before the Lord. You and the alien residing with you will have the same rule and the same application of it. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land into which I am bringing you, and eat of the bread of the land, you shall offer to the Lord a contribution, a round loaf for the first batch of dough. You shall offer as a contribution, just like a contribution for the threshing floor, you shall offer it. Throughout your generations, you shall make a contribution to the Lord for your first batch of dough. If through inadvertence you fail to do any of these commandments which the Lord has given to Moses, anything the Lord commanded you through Moses, from the time the Lord first gave the command, down through your generations, if it was done inadvertently without the community's knowledge, the whole community shall sacrifice one bull from the herd as a burnt offering of pleasing aroma to the Lord, along with its prescribed grain offering and libation, as well as one goat as a purification offering. Then the priest shall make atonement for the whole Israelite community, and they will be forgiven, since it was inadvertence. And for their inadvertence they have brought their offering an oblation to the Lord, as well as their purification offering before the Lord. Not only the whole Israelite community, but also the alien residing among you shall be forgiven, since the inadvertent fault affects all the people. If it is an individual who sins inadvertently, the person shall bring a yearling she-goat as a purification offering, and the priest shall make atonement before the Lord for the one who erred, since the sin was inadvertent, making atonement for the person to secure forgiveness. You shall have but one rule for the person who sins inadvertently, whether a native-born Israelite or an alien residing among you. But anyone who acts defiantly, whether a native or an alien, reviles the Lord and shall be cut off from among the people, for having despised the word of the Lord and broken his commandment. He must be cut off entirely and bear the punishment. While the Israelites were in the wilderness, a man was discovered gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who caught him at it brought him to Moses and Aaron and the whole community. But they put him in custody, for there was no clear decision as to what should be done with him. Then the Lord said to Moses, "This man shall be put to death. Let the whole community stone him outside the camp." The whole community led him outside the camp and stoned him to death, as the Lord had commanded Moses. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them that throughout their generations they are to make tassels for the corners of their garments, fastening a violet cord to each corner. When you use these tassels, the sight of the cord will remind you of all the commandments of the Lord, and you will do them without prostituting yourself, going after the desires of your hearts and your eyes. Thus you will remember to do all my commandments, and you will be holy to your God. I, the Lord, am your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, the Lord, your God." A prayer of Moses, the man of God. Lord, you have been our refuge throughout all generations. Before the mountains were born, the earth and the world brought forth. From eternity to eternity, you are God. You turn humanity back into dust, saying, "Return, you children of Adam." 1,000 years in your eyes are merely a day gone by. Before a watch passes in the night, you wash them away. They sleep, and in the morning they sprout again, like an herb. In the morning it blooms, only to pass away. In the evening it is wilted and withered. Truly we are consumed by your anger, filled with terror by your wrath. You have kept our faults before you, our hidden sins in the light of your face. Our life ebbs away under your wrath. Our years end like a sigh. 70 is the sum of our years, or 80 if we are strong. Most of them are toil and sorrows. They pass quickly, and we are gone. Who comprehends the strength of your anger? Your wrath matches the fear it inspires. Teach us to count our days aright, that we may gain wisdom of heart. Relent, O Lord, how long? Have pity on your servants. Fill us at daybreak with your mercy, that all our days may sing for joy. Make us glad as many days as you humbled us, for as many years as we have seen trouble. Show your deeds to your servants, your glory to their children. May the favor of the Lord our God be ours. Prosper the work of our hands. Prosper the work of our hands. Korah, son of Izhar, son of Kohath, son of Levi, and the Reubenites, Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and On, son of Peleth, son of Reuben, took 250 Israelites who were leaders in the community, members of the council of the men of note, and confronted Moses, holding an assembly against Moses and Aaron. They said, "You go too far. The whole community, all of them, are holy. The Lord is in their midst. Why then should you set yourselves over the Lord's assembly?" When Moses heard this, he fell prostrate. Then he said to Korah and to all his faction, "May the Lord make known tomorrow morning who belongs to him and who is the Holy One, and whom he will have drawn near to him. The one whom he chooses he will draw near to him. Do this, take your censers, Korah and all his faction, and put fire in them, and place incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. He whom the Lord then chooses is the Holy One. You Levites go too far." Moses and Aaron said to Korah, "Hear now, you Levites, are you not satisfied that the God of Israel has singled you out from the community of Israel to have you draw near him to maintain the Lord's tabernacle and to attend upon the community and serve them? He has allowed you and your Levite kinsmen with you to approach him, and yet you seek the priesthood too. It is therefore against the Lord that you and all your faction are conspiring. As for Aaron, what he has done that you should grumble against him?" What has he done that you should grumble against him? Moses summoned Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, but they answered, "We will not go." "Are you not satisfied that you have brought us here from a land flowing with milk and honey to have us perish in the wilderness, that now you must also lord it over us? Far from bringing us to a land flowing with milk and honey, or giving us fields and vineyards for our inheritance, will you gouge out our eyes? No, we will not go." Then Moses became very angry and said to the Lord, "Pay no attention to their offering. I have never taken a single donkey from them, nor have I wronged any one of them." Moses said to Korah, "You and all your faction shall appear before the Lord tomorrow, you and they and Aaron too. Then each of you will take his own censer, put incense in it, and present it before the Lord, 250 censers, and you and Aaron each will with his own censer do the same." So each of them took their censers, and laying incense on the fire they had put in them, they took their stand by the entrance of the tent of meeting, along with Moses and Aaron. Then, when Korah had assembled all the community against them at the entrance of the tent of meeting, the glory of the Lord appeared to the entire community, and the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Stand apart from this community, that I may consume them at once." But they fell prostrate and exclaimed, "O God, God of the spirits of all living creatures, if one man sins, will you be angry with the whole community?" The Lord answered Moses, "Speak to the community and tell them, withdraw from the area around the tent of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." Moses, followed by the elders of Israel, arose and went to Dathan and Abiram. Then he spoke to the whole community, "Move away from the tents of these wicked men, and do not touch anything that is theirs. Otherwise you too will be swept away because of all their sins." So they withdrew from the area around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. When Dathan and Abiram had come out and were standing at the entrance of the tents with their wives, their children, and their little ones, Moses said, "This is how you shall know that the Lord sent me to do all I have done, and that it was not of my own devising. If these die in an ordinary death, merely suffering the fate common to all humanity, the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord makes a chasm, and the ground opens its mouth and swallows them with all the belonging to them, and they go down alive to Sheol, then you will know that these men have spurned the Lord." No sooner had he finished saying all this than the ground beneath them split open, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them and their families and all of Korah's people with all their possessions. They went down alive to Sheol with all belonging to them. The earth closed over them, and they disappeared from the assembly. But all the Israelites near them fled at their shrieks, saying, "The earth might swallow us too." And fire from the Lord came forth, which consumed the 250 men who were offering the incense. This is the word of the Lord.